Okay, great. Okay, so let's find our seat. And once we're there, we're going to sit up nice and tall through the center line of the body and just a little gentle lift through the crown. And we're going to tip the chin down just a little bit so that you can feel the back of your neck lengthen. Let's bring the shoulders up to the ears, press the shoulders back, release down, and roll forward. So just start some nice big shoulder rotations, gently getting into the joints. And as you're doing this, relax down through your elbows and wrists. Relax down into your fingers. Okay. Next time the shoulders are up by the ears, we'll stay there for just a moment. So squeeze and press back and drop down. Okay, so we feel the heart lifted just a little bit. And now we'll release the chin down to the chest. So nice and slow, let your head drop. And just take a moment to feel sensation in the back of the neck and in the upper back. And we're going to bring the head into a rotation, right ear towards right shoulder, across back, left ear to left shoulder, and chin to chest. So again, moving nice and slowly. And if bringing your head back is uncomfortable in your neck, you can just move through the center line. So make a half circle. Yeah, so pay attention to what you're feeling in the neck, down into the upper back. And now let's switch directions. We'll roll the other way. And just noticing any little clicks and cracks as you're moving. And then let's end in the place where the chin is dropped down towards the chest. So keep the breastbone lifted just a little bit. Low back is neutral. And we'll take the fingertips now to the back of the neck. So we're going to move right on either side of the vertebra, and you'll feel those two big rope-like muscles that protrude from the back of the neck. And we can draw circles. We can drag the fingers up and down. So it's working that tension out of the back of the neck. And as you're doing this, relax your jaw, allow your teeth to part. You might also pinch the place where the neck and shoulders meet. We might bring the fingertips along the base of the skull. So we feel that bony ridge that moves out to the place behind your ears. And then you can bring your hands down and bring your eyes forward. Let's take the heels of the hands now and bring the heels of the hands to the forehead. And we're going to press in here and draw circles. So working up towards the hairline, down towards the brows. And you can adjust your touch. So it might feel good to press nice and firmly, or you might prefer a softer touch. And then next we'll take a pointer finger and middle finger of each hand up to the space between the eyebrows. Press in here and drag your fingers down the sides of your nose and out across your cheekbones. You can move all the way to the soft part of the ear. And maybe do that 2 or 3 times. Then again, the hands can rest on the knees whenever you're done, no hurry. And let's keep the gaze straight ahead. We're going to work with the eyes now. So imagine you're sitting in front of a large clock face and the head will not move. Okay, so we keep the head steady. Let's bring our eyes up to look at 12 o'clock. And then 1, 2, 3. So at 3 o'clock, you're looking as far right as you can without moving your head. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now relax your eyes for a moment. You can allow them to softly close. And we're going to go around the face of the clock counterclockwise. So eyes open, look up, 12 o'clock, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12 o'clock. Good. So hold 12 o'clock for just a few breaths. And then bring the eyes all the way down to 6 o'clock. Hold 6 o'clock for a few breaths. So it's almost like you're trying to see your own chin. And then bring the eyes over to 3 o'clock. Slowly across to 9 o'clock. And then back to neutral. So you're just looking straight ahead. Gently close your eyes, and you can rub the heels of your hands together again and make them warm. And we'll place the warm heels of the hands on the eyelids. Okay. And as you're here, start to feel the movement of your breath. So relax your belly and allow the breath to become deep. Okay. You take the hands away. All right, so now we're going to take the fingertips to the shoulders, elbows in front, and we're going to breathe along with this movement. So on the inhalation, let's bring the elbows up and back, and then exhale down and through. Inhale up. Big deep breath, fill the belly, fill the chest, exhale down and through. Do about 8 of these. And as you're sitting, you're aware of the place where your sit bones touch your chair or your cushion. And we still have that very slight lift up through the crown of the head. So keeping the center line of the body tall. And one more. And relax. Okay, shake it out a little bit. And let's interlace the fingers now. We're going to bring the hands behind the head and working with complete breath. So as you inhale, fill your belly, fill your chest, start to lift the breastbone a little bit, eyes to the ceiling, elbows back. And then as you exhale, the chest is emptying, elbows are closing, and we're rolling forward. Belly is emptying, squeeze the belly in. And then again, inhaling, belly is filling, chest is filling. Elbows are moving back, eyes up to the ceiling. And on the exhale, chest is emptying, belly is emptying, elbows are drawing towards one another as we round forward. So keep on going. We'll do 3 more of these complete breaths. And as best you can, take your time. So sometimes we kind of move along to get the breath done. All right, let's see if you can slow down 10%. And just feeling the articulation of the spine as we fill and empty. And do more. And just notice as you're moving that the face stays soft, eyes, forehead, cheeks. Okay. And then let's come back to a neutral place. And we're going to take the hands from behind the head and press them up towards the ceiling. So finish whatever breath you're on. And then from here, we're going to inhale, press up through the hands. Exhale and relax. Good. 5 of these. Inhale, press up. Exhale, relax. Nice and tall. And last one, inhale big, press up through palms. And then exhale, let's bring the arms down. Okay, so we're going to work with the feet now. So we're going to come out into our staff pose, Dandasana. So if you're up on something high like I am, you might want to be a little flatter on the floor. So a thin cushion or a thin blanket is fine. And let's just have the legs out straight from the body and sitting up tall. And sometimes the cushion can help that. So ideally the pelvis is upright. If we're leaned back a little bit, and we might be because of tightness in the hamstrings, you can walk that little cushion under your sit bones. See, that's a little more comfortable. And we're going to flex the feet. So let's spread the toes, press out through the heels, and then point the toes. And flex and point. Yeah, those are my sound effects. Lots of clicks and cracks. The colder it gets, the more clicks and cracks we usually hear. And now we're going to warm up the ankle joints. So the big toes are drawing circles. Good. And then let's switch direction. We'll draw circles the other way. We're going to do a slightly more complicated version now of flexing and pointing. So moving back to toes are separating, we're pressing through the heels. And now see if you can keep your toes spread just like they are, but straighten the ankles. And now point the toes. And now keep your ankles straight like they are, but spread your toes. And now bend your ankles. Okay, so it's 2 steps. Again, keep your toes spread, but straighten your ankles. And now point your toes. And now spread your toes and bend your ankles. And then relax. Okay, shake it out. So we're going to do a movement that's very small now, but it's kind of intense. It takes a lot of work. So what we're going to do is we're sitting up in staff pose, and the movement's going to come from here. So it might help to kind of put your hands in your hip joints. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to roll the thighs open. Okay, and so what'll happen is your pinky toes will move down towards the floor. Okay, this is being initiated up here in hip joints and in your buttocks. And just notice how far towards the floor your pinky toes can go. So just holding that, stay tall. And then we're going to roll to neutral and roll towards big toes looking at each other. So now the thighs are rolling inward, holding here. And then nice and slow, thighs are rolling open, pinky toes towards the floor. Okay. So with your own concentration, you're bringing pinkies down as close as they go. And thighs roll inward, toes look at each other. Good. Let's do that one more time. Roll open and hold. Let's hold for about 5 breaths. Thinking again about, it's kind of easy to roll back here, right? So keep thinking about staying nice and tall through the spine. Right. It's a lot of work in that too. So we're thinking about our hip joints and glutes, right? But we're also working on the muscles that support the spine, trying to keep our posture erect. And then thighs roll in. And then relax your effort. Okay, shake it out again. Ready? So we're gonna move whatever seat is underneath us, if you do have a little prop there. And we're going to bend the knees, put the soles of the feet on the floor, and we're leaning back into our hands. Okay. And we're just gonna start dropping the knees from side to side. This nice little twisting action in the lower spine. Soft. Good. And now we're going to start to move the arms along with this. So the next time both of your knees are dropping to the left, the right arm will come across the body and we'll look over the left shoulder. Good. Come back to neutral. Both knees drop to the right. Left arm comes across and look over the right shoulder. And come back to neutral. Good. So keep going. And you can work at whatever pace feels better. So it might be fun to just keep on moving, or you might like to hold the twist for a breath or two. Good. Nice. Movement right along the spine. Take your time coming in and coming out. It becomes a whole body movement. And let's look each way one more time. Okay. And back to center. All righty, so let's set up now into our butterfly position. And I believe we did an open leg long hold last time. So this time we're going to try it in butterfly pose. So again, make sure you're right up on your sit bones. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a long-legged butterfly. So there's a place where you normally put your heels in this posture. We're going to now slide the feet forward, maybe about 3 or 4 inches. So we're a little bit more open than usual. So not here, but here. And then your block is nearby if you want it. We're going to sit up nice and tall and just start to tip the pelvis forward. So tip, tip, tip. And we're always looking for that best place to hold. So there's somewhere where you're going to stop. And when you stop, you can keep your back straight, or you can drop your head and round your shoulders. If you want some support from the block, it could come here behind your heels. And I might stack my forearms and rest my head. Do that with a tall block. Do that with a shorter block. We're going to try to stay here for about 3 minutes. So if you're starting to feel strain in the inner thighs, you can use your blocks to support your knees. The blocks could come out here as a help. Right, you can start needing 3, 4, or 5 blocks. Right? But you could have a block underneath each knee. All right, because we always want to feel something, but not too much. We kind of become the judge for our body for each pose where that edge is. And as you're here, start to notice where you feel this the most. I've had things going on with my IT band area, my outer legs. So this is for me right now, an outer thigh stretch. I feel it between my hips and my outer knees. You feel this more in inner thighs. You may feel it in your lower back too. So if it's straining in the lower back, you might want to move up a little bit. Right, it should be about legs and hips. And as we start to let the mind rest on sensation, start to feel how the breath is moving in and out of tension. All right. So unless your face is resting on your feet, there's somewhere in our bodies that's kind of holding us up. All right. And if we can find those places in us, we can take our attention there. And when we take our attention there, we can breathe in and out of the tension or tightness. And just in a very loving, accepting way, asking those places to let go just a little bit, to soften just a little bit. And we might start to feel that we're dropping in, dropping in. Deeply relaxing the upper body and just noticing if the breath could lift you a little bit as you inhale. So maybe you feel your head and shoulders float up just a tiny bit. And on the exhale, settling in a little more deeply. Good. Soft face, soft shoulders, long, deep breaths. And we'll be here for about 10 more breaths. Again, if anything starts to pull or strain, come up a little bit. Otherwise, staying where you are or dropping in a little more. Then as you start to entertain the idea of coming out, we'll move out very slowly. So if you are rounded, you can bring your back to neutral and your hands can help you. So let's walk up, walk up. Take your time. And then as we bring our legs back into our staff pose, again, hands could help. Let's bring those legs out in front. And when you're there, bring some wiggling back in. So wiggling toes, maybe rolling our ankle joints, shaking the legs out. And we're going to do 2 tense relaxes here. So from your staff pose, sitting up tall, we're going to think about squeezing the buttocks tight, squeezing the thighs, squeezing the calves, and pressing through the heels. Okay, so from the root to the bottoms of the feet, tight, 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 and relax. Okay, so just let your legs fall. Okay, let's bring the legs touching. Again, we're going to squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the thighs, squeeze the calves. See if you can press your legs into each other. Point your toes away from your body and squeeze your toes. Nice and tight. Hold, hold. Relax. Just let them fall. All righty. We're going to do one more thing seated, and then we're going to come down onto our backs. We're going to work with our hip cradles from a seated position. So we're back in that place with the feet were on the floor and the knees were bent. And we're going to pick up the right ankle and just place it above the left knee. So if enough is going on here, this can be where we are, and we could even lean back into the hands. So it depends on your hip joint. If you want a little more, you can come underneath with your arms and hold your lower leg, just like it's a baby. So you got your knee in the crux of your right elbow and your foot in the crux of your left elbow, and you can draw the leg towards you. You can rock a little bit. Yeah, so I'm either here holding my lower leg, or I could be sitting back. Okay, we'll just do this for about 10 breaths. Okay. So if you're not leaning back, if you're forward and holding your leg, again, working on that lift through the crown. So I'm not all round, but I'm a little tall. All righty, and let's take the other side now. So right foot comes back to the floor. Let's pick up the left ankle, place the left ankle above the right knee. Okay. And again, adjust it for you. So I can either sit back a little bit if the hip is tight, or I can scoop up the low leg and hold it. So let's off this leg. And you can just hold, or you can rock a little bit. And about 10 breaths. Okay. So each side might be similar. One side might be a lot tighter. You might have a different version for the tighter side. So sometimes the wisdom is when one side is particularly tight to hold that side 1.5 times longer. All right. That's for your own practice. That's a good rule of thumb. And then when you're ready, bring the legs back down, and we're going to come all the way onto our backs. You want to wiggle your toes a little bit, and then roll out onto your back. Good. So just check as you're lying down that there's space above your head for your hands, that you're not going to hit a wall or something else. Good. So it might feel very nice to lie down, because sitting on the floor is tiring for the back, right? It's good to do because we're working on back strength, but then it's luxurious, I think, to lay down and not be responsible for supporting the spine anymore, right? Good. So once you're in this position, we're going to bring the arms overhead so the backs of the hands are on the floor. Yeah, you might want to scooch down. I think you have the whiteboard right there. Okay. And then once you're here, we'll move into our symmetrical stretching. So we're reaching through right fingertips, pressing through the right heel. And then we can switch left fingertips, left heel. Okay. So just moving side to side. And then let's bring this into some side bends. So again, the fingers will interlace and the hands will come behind the head. Let's lift the head and shoulders. Side bend to the left, place your head down, elbows open. And then scooch your left heel just a little bit more left. And bring the right leg over to meet it. So you can baby step to the place where you feel a big side stretch through the right side of the body. And the rule of thumb is we don't walk our heels so far that the lower back tightens up. So if you feel this in your low back, heels come a little bit more towards center. Let's tone it down a little bit. And let's think about taking 10 big breaths into the right side of the body. So shoulder joint, side of the waist. And as you're doing this, relaxing the elbows open. Deep breaths. And then let's walk the heels back to center, head and shoulders back to center. And then we'll take our side bend on the other side. So again, head and shoulders lift just like you're doing a crunch. Side bend to the right, and then place your shoulders, head back down on the floor. Right heel steps a little bit right, and the left leg comes over to meet it. So baby stepping the heels until you open up on the left side. Again, check in with the lower back. The lower back is relaxed. And then moving breath awareness into the left side of the body. The neck and shoulders soft. And as you relax your neck and shoulders, you might feel your head be a little heavier in your hands. Good. 2 more long breaths here. And then walk your heels back to center, head and shoulders back to center. And then we can take the hands out from behind the head. Excuse me. And let's just bring the hands over the body. Okay. And we're going to draw circles up on the ceiling with the pointer fingers. So let's just roll the wrists. And then draw circles the other way. Okay, let's bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor, and you might lift your pelvis for just a moment and kind of roll out your low back in case your arch is getting a little bigger. And then let's bring the knees in towards the belly. And we'll just drop knees from side to side, rolling out the lower back. And then bringing the feet back to the floor. We're going to do some hip rolls. And we're going to try it with a straight leg. So it depends on your room. You need a fair amount of space if you have your legs straight, that you're not going to hit a wall or furniture or something else. If you're in a more cramped area, you can do this exact same movement with your knee bent. So just be aware of what's around you. Let's bring the right leg up in the air, and we're going to point the right toe at the ceiling. And then just start to draw a little tiny circle up on the ceiling. So the movement is coming from the hip joint. Knee is still, ankle is still. And then you can imagine that there's a spiral on your ceiling, and you're tracing that spiral bigger and bigger. And the hands might hold the pelvis just so you don't rock too much. Again, be aware of what's around you. And eventually you're making the biggest circle you can from the hip joint. And if this bothers your lower back in any way, you could slide your hands under your pelvis and kind of make a little cradle. Okay, and then let's switch directions. So we're going to go from outer circle to inner circle, where we're tracing the spiral towards center. Each circle is getting a little smaller. And as you come to the eye of your spiral, we're making a tiny little circle. And now flex your foot, press up through your heel, and lower the leg. Okay. When the heel touches, you can shake the leg out a little bit. And then let's move to the other side. So the right foot is on the floor. Left big toe is pointing up at the ceiling. And again, we're drawing a little tiny circle from the hip joint. As you start to see that spiral on your ceiling, your circle is getting bigger. Bigger. Again, you can hold your hips so you don't rock too much. And eventually you get to your biggest circle. And switch directions. Now with each circle getting a little smaller. And we're tracing that spiral back to middle. And as you get to center, you're drawing a little tiny circle up on the ceiling. And then inhale, press up through your heel, flex your toes. And then exhale, let's bring the leg back down to the floor. Okay, when the heel touches, you can shake the leg out a little bit. And then again, let's draw both knees in towards the belly and rock it out. And when you feel ready, we're going to roll to our side and come up into table. So moving up into hands and knees. And the wrists are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Let's start to press up into our cat. So we're dropping the sit bones, arching up along the spine, hands press, head drops. And then inhaling into cow, sit bones are lifting, belly falls, chest falls, look forward. Just follow along with your breath. Drawing up into cat, navel moves up towards the spine, press the floor away. Inhale, drop open. Cow. And then the next time your spine is at neutral, we're going to come back into an extended child's pose. You can do that with the legs just as they are, or if you want to do an open version, big toes touch, knees step wide, sit bones move back. Just allowing the upper body to relax either between the thighs or out over the thighs. If your wrists need a break, you can wiggle fingers, move wrists here. And then walk your hands back towards your body. And what we're going to try now is doing a alternating movement between down dog and high plank. Okay, so it's not chaturanga. We're not going to get low. Elbows will stay straight for both. As we inhale, we're going to be lifting up into down dog, getting a nice stretch. And then as we exhale, we'll come out into high plank and squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the belly. Okay, so we can do 2 or 3. You could do 5 or 6, okay, depending on how you feel. When it's time to rest, come back to your child's pose. Okay, so from table pose, toes turn under. Let's inhale, lift up into down dog. And we're pressing the floor away, nice long stretch. And then as you exhale, just bring your shoulder joints over your wrists and we'll squeeze buttocks, squeeze the belly. Inhale, up into dog. Exhale, forward into high plank, squeeze. So keep going. And again, you can do just a couple, or you can do a few more. It's kind of a fun movement, but we're keeping our elbows straight, so there's no lowering in. And maybe you're still doing this. Let's maybe do one more. And knees come down, buttocks back, child's pose. Once you're in child's pose, you can lift your hands and very gently move your fingers and wrists. And then from here, let's slide out onto the belly. And we're going to either come up into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, we're up on the elbows, right? Forearms are parallel. Come here, so not always showing you my feet. Good. So we might be up on our elbows in a Sphinx pose. We can have the heels up or the legs down, whatever feels better. And just remember that if you need to be a little bit lower, the elbows can come out and the upper body can be a little lower. Okay, so this is a nice squeeze for the low back. It's strengthening for bones, right? Our Sphinx pose. But if it hurts, it's not good. Squeezing good, hurting not. So adjust how high you'd like to be. So if you love Sphinx pose, I've been doing it a lot over the last couple of years, just kind of feeling a need for it. And if you've gotten quite used to it, I'm just turning back so I have some space here. The second variation of it is called seal pose, and it's pretty much a supported cobra. All right. So if you feel it, you can come up onto the palms of your hands and open the front of the spine. And sometimes you can do both, right? We might be up in our seal for a little bit and then lower to Sphinx or vice versa. So wherever you are, let's think 5 more breaths. And then nice and slowly, we'll make our way back down to the floor, resting on the right cheek. So lowering yourself, bringing your arms alongside. And then let's bend at the knees and windshield wiper the legs. So just letting the lower back go. And then lowering the legs down, we're going to think about bringing the right knee up so the inner thigh is next to the body. And I need to explain that a little bit more. So basically, you're looking to your left if you're on your right cheek. You're going to bring your right knee up on the floor next to you, like that. The inner thigh is towards the floor and the thigh is down. And in yin yoga, this is a variation of the gecko pose. Have you ever seen a gecko on the side of the tank? They have these bent knees, right? And then their feet suction cup to the glass. So as high as the knee goes without the pelvis coming up too high, right? This will lift the sit bones up a little bit, but yeah, without strain. And then gently lift your head and come to your left cheek. Let's bring the right leg back down to neutral. And now we're going to think about drawing the left knee up again, to wherever it goes. And you might feel a little more gecko-y if you flex your foot and you're resting on your inner ankle. But your ankle might be up. Okay. Again, lifts the pubic bone a little bit. We don't want to be too high up that we're straining. Just drawing the knee to kind of wherever it goes on its own. And this is a nice way to kind of let the low back go after our back bends. So we do the windshield wipering. This is kind of another counter pose. And then let's bring the legs straight. And coming back to the forehead, hands alongside the rib cage, we can press up into table. And we're going to come to standing now. So keep on walking. And we'll come up onto our feet. And let's find that block. And if you don't need it, that's fine, but it's nice to have it there just in case. So if you're on a mat, you're looking at the long side of your mat. Step the feet wide. And we're going to rotate the thighs open so the toes point at the short corners of the mat. Good. Let's just take a couple little squats here. That depends on your knees and hip joints, just how low you go. And we're going to start doing a moving forward bend with this. So next time you're up, the fingers interlace and they rest on the back of the pelvis. We're going to inhale, tip forward. And wherever your body stops, bend your knees, exhale, scoop, and come back up. Okay, so we do this a lot with our legs in neutral. We're just doing it with the legs open now. Inhale, neutral spine, tip at the hip joints. Where you stop, bend the knees, exhale, press in, come. Okay. So you got it, keep going. Inhale and tip, bend the knees, exhale, scoop. Okay, so the next time you come forward, we're gonna see if we can stay there. So inhale, tip forward to your capacity. And then when you get there, just work on that neutral spine. So see if you can slide your shoulder blades towards one another. Imagine the crown of the head is looking forward and in line with the sit bones. There can be some definite softness in the knees here. And then if you would like to do a chest expander, you could straighten your elbows and bring your arms up off the back. That doesn't quite work. The hands can just stay on the sacrum. So nice and strong. You might feel your sit bones press away. Your arms are up, lower them now. Everybody bend your knees a lot more. And see if the heels of your hands can come to that block. And then once we're here, we're just going to lunge back and forth. So let's just bend one knee, straighten the other. Just kind of gliding from side to side. Just make sure you have a wide enough stance that you can do that. Yeah, that's good. And if you feel like you don't need the block, your hands can be on the floor to do this as well. And the next time you come to center, we're just going to stay there. So your hands can be on the block, your fingers can be on the floor. And we're going to see if we can rotate the thighs inward. So just like we were doing in staff pose. So the two big toes are looking at the block. Heels are out. So I went from here to here. Okay. And then let's just see if we can hold this for about 8 breaths. Yeah, so knees may be straight, knees may be very bent. Again, pay attention to what you're feeling in the backs of your legs. I'm going to think about coming up slowly. So if your toes are pointed inward and your heels out, so if you have your thighs rotated in, we're going to bend the knees and rotate the toes back out. Good. Bend the knees deeply. Hands are on the back of the sacrum. Press up through your feet and let's tip back up. And then once you're here, we're going to take the hands, so they're interlaced and they're on the sacrum. And they're going to keep moving down, the chest will lift up towards the ceiling, eyes up towards the ceiling. Good. Just take a few big breaths into your chest. Opening up through the throat and neck. Good. Relax, eyes forward. Now we'll heel and toe ourselves back to neutral. And walk a little bit. Move into either our abdominal squeeze or Agni Sara practice. So now the knees are bent and the hands are resting on the thighs. So this is newer to you. We're doing abdominal squeeze. Inhale, relax the belly. Exhale, draw the navel in towards the spine. Squeeze the abdominal muscles. Inhale, relax, let them drop. You're working with Agni Sara. It looks very similar from the outside, but inhale, relax. Exhale, draw the pelvic floor up, low abdomen in, navel in, and squeeze. Inhale, release the abdomen, low belly, pelvic floor. Yeah, let's do about 8. Moving. 2 more. And when you get to about 8, 9, or 10, depending on how fast you're working, the knees will bend and we can just roll ourselves up and back to mountain pose. Excuse me. Now, when you're back in your mountain pose, we're going to be doing something that's called cloud salutations. So this is kind of a balancing movement. And we're going to start from mountain pose. So you can check your feet and just notice that the ankles are underneath the hips. We're going to take a nice big inhalation and bring the arms overhead. Palms will touch. And then as you exhale, you'll shift onto your left foot, draw your hands to your heart and your right knee up. And then as you inhale, again, the arms are swooping. The heel is coming back to the floor. Yeah, it takes a while. Once you get the rhythm of it, it's a lot better. So as you exhale now, hands come to the heart and the left knee is lifting. Inhale, swooping the arms and lowering the foot slowly, right? Slowly is hard. Shift, exhale, hands to the heart, right knee is lifting. Inhale, swoop and lower. And shift and exhale, left knee to the heart. So step 1 is just figuring out what you're doing and then trying to find a rhythm for it. So one thing you might notice is that the arms need to move faster than the foot, right? If the goal was for my foot and hands to touch here at the same time, my hands need to be traveling more quickly than my heel is lowering, right? There's more ground to cover. In addition to balance, it takes a tremendous amount of focus to time the arms and legs together. Let's do one more on each side. Take your time, slow it down. Get to your last one, the arms will move without the leg. All right, so now we'll do our relaxation practice. That hour goes so fast. Let's come down onto the floor in Shavasana. Cushion behind your head. The lights in here. So when you're in a space that is cool, have a blanket or a little fleece or something to keep the body warm, right? Our temperature starts to drop when we relax. If you're in a room with a lot of light, you may want something to cover the eyes. Shoulders are rolled open and the arms relaxed alongside. And your position becomes comfortable. You can invite stillness into the body. Allowing yourself to sink into the floor a little bit. Allowing the whole body to soften. Relax across your forehead, down around your eyes. Soften your cheeks and jaw. Relax around your ears, across the back of the head. Begin to move your awareness down the back of your neck, the sides of your neck, the throat. Softening across the chest, into shoulder joints and upper back. Relax your upper arms and elbows, your lower arms and wrists. Soften your hands. And then feel where the backs of your hands rest on the floor. And you can let your fingers softly curl. And feel in the palm of each of your hands a ball of warm energy. So just as if you were holding something warm in the palms of your hands. And this warmth can spread into your fingers, into your palms, so that the hands feel very heavy and soft. And then imagine that as you inhale, you could draw that warm energy from the palms of your hands up the arm to the center of the chest. Excuse me. And then as you exhale, just breathe from the center of the chest back down into your palms. So from the inhalation, warm energy moves from the palms up the arms to the heart. On the exhale, breathing back down the arms to the palms of the hands. On the inhalation, we feel energy moving together at the heart center, so drawing into the center of the chest. And on that exhale, the energy moves back out and flows down the arms. And as you're feeling or seeing this energy moving, deeply relax your shoulder blades, your shoulder joints. And next time that you breathe that energy into your heart, start to spread downward into your rib cage, into the sides of your waist. Move that energy down through the center line of the body, from the shoulder blades to the lower back, from the heart to the belly. And then softening down into your hip joints. The thighs, the knees, the lower legs and ankles. Out into your feet, relaxing all the toes. And as you feel that place where your heels are touching the floor, allow the legs to be heavy. And in the arches of both feet, again, feel that ball of warm energy. And that warmth is in the arches of your feet. Allow that warm energy to flow into the feet, softening all of the muscles in the arches, across the tops of your feet out into your toes. And as you continue to feel that warm energy, imagine that you could breathe it up from the arches of your feet to your navel. And then exhale from your navel back down to the arches of your feet. Okay. So you draw that warm energy up to the navel. You exhale from the navel back down to the arches of your feet. And as you bring that energy up, allow its warmth to deeply relax the legs. Bringing that warmth up through your ankle joints and your knee joints and your hip joints. And as the breath relaxes and grows even longer and deeper, let's see if we can breathe from the arches of the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. And then exhale from the crown of the head down the body, all the way out through the bottoms of the feet. And we might start to blur those 2 points. So we're inhaling from somewhere below our feet, all the way up to somewhere above the crown. Exhaling from somewhere above the crown, all the way down the body and out through the bottoms of the feet. So keep this breath flowing in you. And we're going to move into a practice that's called the Om Kriya. So what you'll do is, as you're moving the breath up and down the body, you'll be hearing the Om mantra in your own mind. There'll be one complete Om on the way up and one on the way down. So as the inhalation starts to enter through the bottoms of your feet, you're hearing Om. As the exhale begins to move down through the crown, you're hearing Om. Out through the bottoms of the feet. Okay, so give this a try, hearing the mantra in your own mind. And for the first few repetitions, it might be a little bit shaky, getting the sound and breath to move together. See if you can get it into a nice flow. As if the breath was pulling Om up through you, and the exhale was drawing Om back down through you. And your body just rests in this wave of sound. Drawing the vibration of Om up and down the body. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. And now start to let the sound of the mantra go. Return to your normal breathing. And maybe take a couple of deep breaths. You can start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Maybe gently move the head from side to side. And then as you're ready, you can roll to your side and come up to your seated position. So take your time. Just sitting for a few breaths. Allowing the mind to relax in silence. When you're ready, you can warm the palms and bring the hands over the eyes. Allowing the eyes to open when you're ready. And taking the hands away from the eyes. Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here. Namaste.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Good to see you all.
Great class.
Good. I love being here. I love Fridays too. This is like my vibe now for the weekend. So
Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
yeah, enjoy. Yeah. Get to
Thank you,
see
Tracy.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.